Hey, Hound Dogs, I'm David Hankins.
I'm Paul Hankins. And I'm Trevor Hankins.
And you're on the air with Power Squared. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And safe travels and all that. We're here to talk about Rohan.
Yes.
And specifically the drama series.
Yeah.
Based on the character from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah. So it's Thus Spoke Kishibe Rohan, or Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe, depending on the exact translation.
Okay.
Rohan Kishibe is a character, or a recurring character in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable. Yes. He's a manga artist whose stand ability is called Heaven's Door, which allows him to literally read people like a book and even write in commands that they are unable to disobey.
Right.
Yes. So it's commands like "you can't attack Rohan,"
right,
or "you'll fly back like 20 meters" or something.
Try not to rip him off or something.
Yeah.
Now, in the original, was he? My first impression of him at the time was he was kind of a villain.
He was a minor antagonist, but after the initial encounter with him, he became an ally.
Right. And so, anything you want to talk more about him as far as in JoJo's?
Yeah, in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, he's a recurring ally, again, after the first encounter, and he ends up having his own adventures or side battles of his own, which still contribute to the ongoing story in their own way. And he is also important in a way during the final battle.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I don't know how many years ago that was published.
I believe Diamond is Unbreakable was published in the... Was that from the 90s? And yeah, this is from the 90s.
Okay, yeah. And so 30-some years later, they decided to make a drama series.
Yeah.
On Japanese television.
Yes. Yes.
About the character. Do we know anything about why they decided 30 years later to jump in and do it? Or
well, throughout the years since Diamond is Unbreakable, Hirohiko Araki had been sporadically doing a series of one-shots. Yes. Called Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe, or again Thus Spoke Kishibe Rohan.
Okay.
In English, they're collected into 2 volumes that are released in English, although there's one story that we haven't been able to get over here where it was collaboration with Gucci. Yes. It was excluded from the English volume, apparently, because Shueisha told them to.
Okay.
Yeah.
And by Gucci, you mean the designer?
Yeah.
Company.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
so
the fashion.
All right. In case somebody was.
Yeah, the fashion company.
Okay.
Yes.
So how and when were those done? Do we know?
They were done at like different points in time.
Okay.
Yeah, and across different magazines.
Okay.
Yes. And he also gave commentary in the volumes. Like, he reflected on how when he unconsciously managed to make the feel of the one shot match the feel of the magazine it was in.
Okay.
Like, there was one shot was made for a magazine called Besatsu Margaret, which from what I know, it seems to be aimed at a female demographic.
Okay.
So because of that, he ended up giving the story a happier ending.
Okay.
It could easily be years between one shots. Like, the first one was that around part 4 or 5? I think it was like part 5-ish. Yeah.
Do you think he came back to the character because he kind of, related to him in some ways?
For the first one, he was told to make a one shot, but he was told to not have it connect to any of his previous works.
Oh, that's weird.
When he was like developing it, he inserted Rohan Kishibe anyway because he thought that made the story more interesting.
Okay.
What I say is, like, if he wasn't given that limitation, he might not have tried to use Rohan.
Okay. Because Rohan does relate to previous.
Yeah, but it's not, like, directly connected.
Right.
But anyway, I believe the first one shot was around part 5-ish, and then he picked it up again during, like, parts 7 and 8.
Okay.
Just, again, sporadically.
So, this series, which was like 3-episode seasons, there's 3 of them, but there was like 3 episodes each, right? Except for the final one was 2.
You're talking about the drama, yeah.
Yes. So those were on Japanese TV a few years ago.
Starting from 2020.
Okay.
They had been, like, they did 3 a year, or 3 in 2020, 3 in 2021, 2 in 2022, and then theatrically released movie 2023.
Is this sort of like how Disney wants you to watch all these shows before you watch the movie, or does this just happen to be how it works in Japan?
I think it depends on the agreement.
Okay, I'm just,
Like, for example, when Demon Slayer was being made into an anime, it was already decided that the Mugen Train arc will be adapted as a movie.
Okay.
Before they even started developing the movie.
All right. So, and who's the lead in this series?
As in who portrays the lead?
Yes.
Issei Takahashi.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to me, he is Rohan.
Yeah, in the drama series, Takahashi manages to perfectly capture Rohan's personality, and his physical acting really brings out the tension of the scene.
Right.
Because it actually feels like he's reacting realistically to the supernatural events going on around him.
Yes, he gets very casual.
Yes.
Have the store.
Yeah.
And we watched this in Japanese with subtitles.
Yeah. That's the only way it was available.
This.
Was this on Prime or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the U.S. It was available Amazon Prime.
Free with Prime.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's really good in that role.
Yeah.
And you get the sense that he is Rohan.
Yeah.
So I think he really nailed it. And I'm sure he's watching this podcast, hoping we'd say that. And then he's got an editor.
Yes.
And her name and who played her?
Kyoka Izumi.
Okay.
Name of the character.
She's kind of you get the idea that she is sort of a corporate person brought in to sort of, she doesn't seem to ever really change him so much as just sort of he puts up with her more.
In the drama, she was portrayed by Marie Itoyo.
Okay. Again, I know nothing about her or the guy that, Takahashi, but I think she does a good job with sort of playing sort of this, kind of, I'll say pain in his ass that he puts up with, and sort of.
They have good chemistry because they're opposing personality.
Yes.
In the one shots, she only appeared in like 1 or 2 of them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But in the drama, they made her more of a regular character.
Right.
And in the drama, she and Rohan have a good dynamic.
Right.
Yeah.
There's always a scene in the drama where he's throwing her out the door and handing her purse. He's like, "I'm tired of you now. Go away."
Yeah.
So are all the stories in the drama taken from these one shots?
Not all of them.
Okay.
Most of them are.
Okay.
Yes. In addition to the one shots, there are also a there were a few prose collections.
Okay.
There was Rohan centric stories written by other people.
Okay.
And one of the drama episodes is based on one of those.
Okay.
And two episodes were based on Rohan centric arcs from Diamond is Unbreakable.
Okay.
Yeah, specifically where the Diamond is Unbreakable version is the fights against the Stands, Cheap Trick, and Boy Two Man.
Okay.
The alternative name for the Boy Two Man fight is Rock Paper Scissors Kid.
Oh, God. I really hated him. Just like this. He just seemed to have it out for him for really no good reason.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for him to just, get rid of him, dispatch it with him or whatever. Because I liked the beginning. His reaction was like nothing better than beating a small child. Not physically beating him, but
right.
just
Defeating.
Yes.
Yeah. That sense.
Yeah. But that kid was just relentless, and he had his own stand.
Yeah, or his. What's interesting about the drama is that they managed to completely divorce Rohan and his, misadventures from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but they did it in a way that made it more accessible without sacrificing the spirit of the stories. And so, they don't say stand even a single time.
Right.
Instead, Heaven's Door is presented as a gift.
He mentions that repeatedly as his gift.
And there's always, in the first episode of each season, they always demonstrate Heaven's Door and explain its origin
and how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, they also handle it, in the, as I recall, in the anime, kind of the person's face kind of becomes a book, and here they do it more where it's on top of the person. I mean, the face. Sometimes you can see kind of like the little outlines of the person's face under the book.
Yeah, you can. They also have a very minimal use of CG.
Right.
So they do practical effects wherever possible, and at some point I was kind of figuring out how they did the practical effects for Heaven's Door.
Now there was one of them where they.
Actually, there were a few effects and some effects in the drama where I actually found it more impressive after learning that was a practical effect.
Right. The other thing, was one of the shows where they changed up how they did Heaven's Door.
Yeah, the third episode, I could not find a source on the exact reason, but for that one episode only, Heaven's Door literally turned people into a physical book.
Right.
That he could pick up and read.
Right. Now,
I'm guessing one reason they did that is because in the live action version of the story, the books open in a way that does this particular effect.
right.
What's interesting about
I can't speak for sure.
what's interesting about Heaven's Door's ability in general, the Heaven's Door ability in general, and the drama is that the books are all done in a way that matches the personality of the.
That little rock paper scissors kid was very exacting.
Like graph paper. And the graph paper with Japanese characters exactly in each. And Izumi, when hers is when it's done on her, it's like a fashion magazine.
Right. And there was somebody he opened up and there was black in there and stuff. Yeah, it was kind of not. That's not a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in the story it starts out where she has a boyfriend who seems like he's kind of shell shocked or whatever, and then we kind of get his backstory, and he kind of leaves the story.
Yeah.
But that was kind of interesting how they handled that too.
Yeah. Yes. For the series, they also take what are otherwise disparate stories and have it so that they're connected, and three of them are connected each season through an arc.
Right.
Or in the case of the third season, two of them.
Yeah, and he's you get the idea that he's well known.
Yeah.
Can't walk the streets without people. You know, can't have fun. And he gets kind of like used to it and tired of it at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a guy that puts up with fools. You know?
Yeah.
And yeah, so his personality comes through very strongly.
Yeah, and like again, Takahashi brings out how Rohan is like abrasive, but he has a good heart.
Yeah, and I think they kind of I'll say tone down he wears a black kind of headband.
Yeah.
Instead of looks like multicolored on the, you know, he just.
It depends on what Araki felt like coloring it at the time.
It's about the black, and he wears a lot of black. It just seems like that fits with the character.
Yeah.
And it fits with his personality. He's not,
yeah.
He's a guy that likes routine.
Yeah.
One of the things I liked was they always showed him doing his little hand exercises before he does it, and that you can tell that's when he's getting ready to do it, and that's when he gets interrupted every time. Did you have a favorite story from those? We'll talk about the finale in a minute here, but do you have a favorite of the episodic stories?
Actually, one that I really liked was how they did rock paper scissors kid.
Yeah.
Like what really like Takahashi's physical acting like really sells that one.
Yeah.
I also liked one that we weren't able to read beforehand because only in Japanese. One that I thought was interesting was Kushagara.
Which was?
The one with the forbidden word.
Oh.
Or the banned word.
Right.
You cannot speak it or you'll become obsessed with it. I also thought for Hot Summer Martha, which we also weren't able to read because it's only in Japan.
Yes.
They managed to really draw out the psychological horror of it.
Okay, and what was that story?
Hot Summer Martha was Rohan Rohan ends up looking at a mirror.
Oh yeah.
And
It's
then
like a cursed mirror.
yeah, it was at a cursed mirror, and then 3 months have passed.
And then he does it again, and then 3 more months have passed. Yeah, and
And it keeps getting more. His life was lived, but not by him.
right.
And he has to he deals with like the horrific fallout.
Yeah, and
This.
the one thing that was kind of odd for me was if they're cranking these things out, it seems like 6 months had gone by and the issue hadn't gone anywhere or whatever. Because they were, I know it was the three balls versus 4 balls or
Yeah.
whatever.
3 circles versus 4 circles.
Right.
The story arc to his manga, Pink Dark Boy,
Right.
had been going forward, but not done by him.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just seemed they were still back with that 3-4 circle.
Yeah.
But he had by that point a figure to look at.
Yeah. Well, it's like the character was popular enough that the Hot Summer Martha character was popular enough that they made a figure.
And then the fact that I don't want to give too much of the story away, but there's sort of an obsessed fan that sort of has a relationship with
Yeah.
his, not him.
Yeah.
But she doesn't understand who the editor is at some point because she tries to kill her.
Yeah.
And you think the editor would have been showing up, like the editor would show up all the time anyway.
Yeah, well, we don't know what happened.
Right, yeah, because we weren't there. But anyway.
The time skips.
Yeah, it was a really different story.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, I also liked how cinematic Rock, Paper, Scissors Kid was.
Yeah.
I also liked how they adapted The Run.
Oh, yeah, that was...
And what was that?
The Run was the guy that was obsessed with fitness.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was crazy.
Yeah.
They were in my way, so I got rid of them.
That Issei Takahashi's physical acting was really strong there.
And it's interesting because the stories sort of they're individual stories, but they have an arc overall.
Yeah.
because that run also fits into the story where he goes and buys the forest or whatever, the hill.
He buys the mountains.
Mountains, yes, because that guy was, it relates back to that guy, and the fact that when he has when he misses those 3 months or whatever, and then 3 months again, and doesn't like what they ended up doing, which he finds out was the editor doing it, which was part of why I was wondering why she wouldn't know who she was. The rock paper scissor kid doesn't like the 4 circles and is mad at him for doing that. So it all kind of feeds in together.
Yeah.
To a certain degree.
Yeah.
All right. So the television series ends, and there's a theatrical movie.
Yeah.
In Japan.
Rohan at the Louvre, aka Rohan au Louvre. And I forgot the Japanese title.
It's based on this one shot.
Okay. You can tell it's a higher budget because they actually went to Paris to shoot it, and they shot it in the Louvre.
Yes. Which is rare from our understanding.
Yes.
Like to be allowed to film in there.
Yeah, I wonder if
that.
I wonder if they shot that film about the Da Vinci Code, if they shot that there or not.
I think Da Vinci Code was actually.
Okay.
My understanding is there was only like one other Japanese movie that was filmed there.
But you get, one thing you get a real sense of, we can talk about the movie in a second, but it's just how massive the Louvre is.
Yeah.
And I think they did a way better job in this than they did in the Da Vinci Code of really giving you the sense of how big it is.
Yes.
Yeah. And
and also how small the Mona Lisa is.
Right. Yeah. All that fuss over something that big. I knew it was big, but I was like, wow, and it takes days to go through it. It would be amazing to go there and you'd have to spend a week at the Louvre, probably.
Yeah, there's like they offhandedly mentioned something about taking 3 days to look at everything.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's sort of like the Smithsonian. It takes a long time to go through it all.
Yeah.
People, you go and see, like they say you go and see the Mona Lisa, and I've been to the Louvre, No, you haven't really. It's amazingly...
I was actually reminded from when I believe, when I was younger, there was like at a school, someone from the faculty went to the Louvre, and the one thing I remember, because I was a kid with poor attention span, but the one thing I remembered was in the Louvre they conveyed you past the Mona Lisa because there was that much of a crowd,
right? So
you only got to see it up close for like 3 seconds or something. But even then, you could still get the impression it's like you could still see that the eyes sort of follow you.
Yeah, it'd be amazing to go and see that.
Yeah,
that really sparked my I gotta go to Paris.
Yeah.
Not that
Yeah.
I didn't want to go before, but now for sure.
That was incredible. The Louvre looked really incredible. Yeah. And then they also naturally hired French actors as well.
For the French characters.
Yeah. And it was also interesting hearing characters speak a combination of French and Japanese.
Right, and they brought in a Japanese curator.
Yeah.
Of who they brought in because they had found some. Yeah. Japanese art that I guess they didn't know they had.
Yeah.
And then they go down to the Z13, yeah, way down in the bowels, I assume, which was a studio at that point. But you get the real sense that you kind of they could have had that there. It was a palace and a fortress and then a museum. Yeah. So you get the idea that maybe they it seemed believable.
Yeah.
But after a while, it's like, oh, come on.
I remember reading one time the way Araki writes. It's like, even if something he's describing isn't 100% true, the way he writes about it for the purpose of the story, you can just buy it.
Yeah. It does seem believable.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much you want to get into the story. He's going there because he's looking for a particular piece of art.
Yes.
The black painting.
Right.
Yeah. Which is painted with the blackest ink
Yeah, he was looking
possible.
for the. Yeah, he was looking.
blackest paint.
Because he was sort of trying to find pigments, right? He
Yes.
was kind of into pigments for a while, and there was he wanted to get the blackest black, and that was supposedly a painting that was in the Louvre that the Louvre didn't know they had, right?
Yeah, or it was its existence was hidden away.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we know why now.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's not spoil it.
no, but and he uncovers sort of a whole little thing going on
Yeah.
where they're forging stuff.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't realize that if you paint something at the Louvre, you have to paint it 20% bigger than it was originally. So that's a way of keeping forgeries from hitting the market, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very interesting. And you got the impression too that the Louvre considered him important because he had like somebody attached to kind of see him through all this.
Yeah.
It was kind of interesting too.
Yeah, you get the sense that Rohan's manga Pink Dark Boy is well known internationally,
Yeah.
Yes.
which is even in the one shot. Like they recreate a moment where he encounters French tourists
Uh-huh.
and or not tourists but French people, and they're like, are you Rohan? Can you get an autograph? And then he like with a swipe of the pen or something, he has this like full.
Yeah, I know that in the movie she was like, oh no, he's not gonna do autographs, and he like does this elaborate thing with like, it was just literally a swash of a pen. Yeah. You get the impression that he is very quick when he wants to be.
Yeah.
Get it done because he spends a lot of time coming up with ideas. But
Yeah.
it was it was a pretty well done movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I really liked it.
And it's even watchable without having seen the drama series.
Right, it does help.
Yeah.
Unlike, let's say, the Marvels, you don't have to have seen it, but it does. It does sort of stand on its own.
For those that have seen the drama, the plot of the movie gets teased at the end of episode 8.
Yeah. But yeah, it is written in a way that you don't need to have seen everything because they still like explain Heaven's Door at the beginning, and you can very quickly get a sense of Rohan's relationship with his editor.
Right. And so it was again, it was just another chance to see Takahashi act.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of sorry that the series ended, if it has for sure.
There is still material that they could adapt, although it would be interesting to see whether or not they do decide to continue. If they do, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would watch it, but
yeah.
So it's a different story than, I'll say, JoJo. I mean, a different way of telling a story.
Yeah.
And it's a little more acceptable. I mean, not acceptable, but
accessible.
Accessible, yeah.
Yeah.
That other A word. So yeah, so if you haven't watched it because of if you have a chance to watch it, I would recommend that you at least give it a shot. Because you do get the JoJo Stan thing as a gift. Do we know how he got the gift?
In
the manga, he got it after being shot by a special arrow.
Okay.
But in the drama, it's explained that he's just born with it.
Okay.
Or just has it.
Yeah.
Which is also how it's presented in the original Rohan at the Louvre one shot, which kind of conflicts with the canon of JoJo.
But doesn't everybody get a stand by being shot by an arrow? Mostly.
Well, in JoJo, it really depends, but in part 4 and onwards, a lot of it is being shot by the arrow.
Which sounds really painful. That's the way of getting a stand.
Well, if the penalty for not being worthy of a stand is death, then
I'll take the arrow. Given the choice, okay, shoot me with the arrow. But anyway. All right. Anything else you guys want to say about?
We would still. Trevor and I have also really liked the one shots, and we would still recommend reading the one shots as well. But the TV drama is the kind of maybe the perfect way for someone to dip their toes into or feet into the world of JoJo without having to commit to like several seasons of anime.
Right.
And the one-shots were also adapted into OVAs that were also kind of sporadically released. And it'll be interesting to see how that handles the material as well. There were 4 OVAs. 3 of them were based on stories that were also adapted into the drama, but adapts one story that was not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yes, the only other thing left to say is I also liked the Millionaire Village story.
Yes.
Okay.
That was the one with you have to be exact with etiquette.
Oh. Yeah, right. Yes.
Well, you can't buy this property unless you have 100% perfect etiquette.
Yeah, and it seemed really strict etiquette.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know if that. I mean, like you couldn't have the servant could have his foot on the carpet or the rug.
You couldn't step on the edge of the tatami mat. You had to hold the teacup a certain way.
Yeah, it was very, very strict.
Depending on the elevation of the table.
Yeah. You have to know a lot more than.
Yeah.
I would care to learn, I guess. All right.
So I think that about covers it. Yes.
And just as a gossipy thing, supposedly the actor and actress that played the leads are kind of a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which you kind of, seemed like a little odd after their relationship on the show, but they obviously have something in common.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd pass that out.
Is good for them.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So if you're watching this on YouTube later and you liked this, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, leave a comment below if you have opinions of your own about JoJo Part 4, the Rohan one-shots, the Rohan OVA, or the Rohan drama.
All right.
And if you watch this far, type pink dark bullet.
Yeah.
So until next time, I'm David Hankins.
I'm Paul Hankins.
I'm Trevor Hankins.
And you've been on the air with Power Squared.